Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the entire Gender and LGBTQIA Center staff, friends, and community of James, I'm so excited to introduce today's Newman Lumen speaker, James Hemingway. Creative, leader, advocate, kind, a GLC Swiftie are just some of the words I would use to describe James. I get to work with James as he is a student manager of our communications and resources team here in the GLC. And one of the first things that immediately struck me about James is their creativity. If you've picked up a sticker from the GLC this past semester especially, you can thank James for the incredible designs. Another way I would describe James is a community leader and advocate. There have been many times this semester where a student has stopped in the GLC asking for resources and support, and when I've asked them how they've got connected to us, so many have said because of James. A community leader extends compassion and is a resource to their peers, and James is both of these and more. I think I can confidently say that James believes that so many of his peers inherently deserve the resources and should know about those resources available to them. What I also know is that those peers that have been connected to the GLC have not only been affirmed, but also might not have been successful here at Elon if not for the resources the students have been able to receive, all because of James's community leadership. I'm ecstatic to hear James's story today, and that we all get to bear witness to an incredible human, friend, and community leader. Please join me in thunderous, thunderous applause to welcome James Hemingway to Newman Lumen today.
Hello and good morning. My name is James Hemingway, and today I'm going to share me and my own words with you all. Although there is more to me than being trans, I'm going to highlight that identity of mine today. Being trans to me is a beautiful transformation in a society that loathes change. It is an act of courage to let yourself find joy in your identity, in a part of yourself that at times you may have despised. If you find the people who encourage you to be authentic, life can be so beautiful. I have found so much joy in the process of transition, but can't help but remember the way society treated me when I never passed and the trauma of rejection by the people I love the most and thought would be the easiest supporters. I treasure being trans and am proud of my strength. I remember the first time I let myself acknowledge my transness. My body betrayed me in a way I hadn't been prepared for. I remember thinking, this can't be right, this cannot be right, this isn't supposed to happen to me. Everyone who experiences gender dysphoria experiences it differently, and some trans folks don't experience it at all, but it hit me like a bus, head on. I felt so lonely in my head, a prisoner in my mind, watching myself change in the wrong direction. There had to be something wrong with me, a fundamental flaw in my human design. I was floating through life, packing away every thought of yearning to be a boy neatly. My gender was messy, and I felt like I had lost control that made me feel safe. Then something truly horrible happened that changed everything. On Valentine's Day of 2018, a gunman entered Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School and murdered 17 innocent students and teachers. The school is a little less than a mile away from where I've lived for 11 years, and 500 feet from the middle school I attended and my brother was attending at the time. In this tragedy, my dear friend Gina Montalto was killed, and the life of myself and closest friends was upended forever. Her casket passed me, and I knew I couldn't live this lie anymore. She was a person who would light up every room with joy and wouldn't want me to hide from living authentically. I began living as who you see in front of you today in April of 2018 to everyone. I had been out to some friends at school, but was terrified to tell the world, to tell the people who had known me the longest. I feel sad to say this, but at the time, I couldn't picture my life past 17. I was so lonely and turned to destructive behaviors and felt no relief from my gender dysphoria. How could I keep going when I had never recognized the person looking back at me in the mirror? I felt that I was unworthy of the love I so desperately wanted, so desperately needed. A moment of joy I remember during this time was when I got my first chest binder. If you're unaware, a chest binder is used by transmasculine individuals who want to achieve the appearance of a flat chest. This was the first time I experienced gender euphoria to this degree. I felt the trans joy that I didn't know could be my own. Even with this validating moment, I was the only out trans person for most of my high school experience and self-advocated the best I could, but lacked respect for my professors and peers. I was no stranger to the hateful language spoken behind my back, but that didn't make it any easier to bear. I was lucky enough, and still am, to have a wonderful therapist who guided me through so much of this time in my life and helped me get through high school, encouraging me to focus on the future, get into school that would help me thrive, and find the community I desperately yearned for since I was 15. I got my letter of acceptance to Elon while I was waiting for my brother to be done with his dentist appointment, and still remember the pride I felt, and finally allowed myself to relax. I also got a letter from Luis Garay, director of the GLC, not long after my acceptance to Elon, letting me know about the Gender and Sexuality LLC and how to apply. Again, a feeling of relief, even more than when I got my acceptance. It feels insane to say this, but before coming to Elon, I had never met a trans person in real life above the age of 18. I had so many moments when having these beautiful people represented in my life or on screen would have felt like a breath of fresh air. Society has failed so many of our trans siblings. As you may know, this week is Trans Week of Remembrance, where we honor the lives of our trans siblings that are lost to violence resulting from transphobia. When the numbers of murders flash upon the news, we feel desensitized and often feel unworthy of grieving for some we've never met. I've never met them, yet my heart breaks. Trans lives are precious. Transness is an adventure, and it is all of our jobs to support each other and sustain community. We deserve time and space to grieve, whether it be for the people we have never met, for a life we could not live, or maybe for the loss of a loved one. There is no time limit on healing. We are ingrained to rush and move on as quickly as we can to get back to normalcy. But what even is normal, especially in the grieving process? There is no such thing, and we all deserve the space to process, scream at the ocean, and lay down in a rainstorm. Let your body feel the hurt, and let yourself lean on the people who love you. I recall sitting in the pews during a Sunday church service. I knew that I wasn't welcome there. Everyone fits so neatly into woman and man, with either a flowery dress or a collared button-up. I knew I was different from all of them because they made sure that I knew. I loathed the uncomfortable comments from the mothers in the reception hall, telling me they missed when my hair went down to the middle of my back, that I was so pretty before. God doesn't make mistakes. That was one of the first things I heard, understood, and I internalized. If God doesn't make mistakes, then what does that make me? I wish I could have cut off my hair in front of a congregation and have them all applaud me, for I was creating a life I could thrive in. They would cry tears of joy for me and embrace me as a child of God, seeing me as perfectly created as I was and perfect as I changed. I see transness as a spiritual connection with one's body, mind, and other trans and queer people around them. A queer church doesn't exist to me within a building every Sunday. It exists in the community I've found for myself, the love I have grown from the ground and let myself have, the love I withheld for myself for so long. Life is unfortunately not all sunshine and rainbows, but I have met and befriended so many beautiful humans in my 1.5 years here and feel so fortunate to have found a strong community, and I want to share some specific moments of trans joy with you all. When I started dating my amazing partner, Emerson, I cannot put into words how much Emerson has changed my life for the better. Sharing transition with someone is such a beautiful feat, and I feel like the luckiest person around to have so many big moments with them. We understand one another, celebrate the big steps, and know how to support one another in times of struggle. I feel so loved, and that every inch of me is accepted and valued in a way I've never let myself believe was possible. I've also met so many amazing friends and had great moments feeling supported and celebrated, especially in the Gender and Sexuality LLC, which has been a safe haven for me as a trans and queer person on campus. Also today marks me being 5 months on testosterone, which is so exciting. That has been one of the most amazing and transformative experiences, in literally and figuratively. And I truly feel so honored to share this journey with so many of my amazing friends. As Louise said, I have enjoyed so much working at the GLC and feel that I've found somewhere that I can thrive both professionally, but also really feel fulfilled in my goals as a student employee, but also thinking about life planning and how I really want to go into helping students just like me and helping those who need it most. But I've really enjoyed supporting students and talking to prospective students as well who come in with their parent and have concerns about college and wondering, am I going to be safe? Am I going to feel like I'm supported here? And I feel very lucky to be able to tell them yes. And I want to leave you all with this today. Be the person you needed when you were younger, guide those who feel lost, and uplift those who have found their place and are thriving. Community is so vital for queer and trans survival, and I feel so lucky to have found it here among so many amazing individuals. Thank you.